What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Straight No Chaser Cowboys podcast. It's your boy, the host with the most, in the middle. I just changed. You don't know what I'm gonna do. So, with my guy JC and my guy D Brown for another episode. Gentlemen, how we feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good.
Real
It's
good. Hey, yo,
unseasonably warm in Dallas, Texas, man.
I
did
see
the
you,
Carmelo
boy.
Hayes thing.
Making me jealous over here because
Right.
I'm no longer able to participate.
Yeah, I did the Carmelo Hayes thing on the braids, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine what Las Vegas Raiders owner, because I sat down and I said, hey, make me look like Carmelo Hayes if you can, right? And he's a wrestler, by the way, love the guy. I can just imagine your man Mark Davis when he sits down in his barber chair. Can you make me look like a Chinaman? That damn Mo haircut, man. I can't get it out of my head, man. But hey, hilarious. Man, another great day in the DF Dub Straight No Chaser podcast, baby.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
D Brown, how you feeling?
Man, feeling pretty good. It's been one hell of a football weekend, and it's unseasonably warm, man. It's classic patio weather. You know, Cliff, you spent some time here, bro. It was 90 degrees here yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 90 degrees without a cloud in the sky, bro. So I coached some AAU ball yesterday and went straight to the patio.
Straight to the patio podcast. Let's go.
Straight to the patio, baby. Yeah. Yes,
now, that's what's up. Well, it's uncharacteristically cold out here in California.
Wow.
It's day 3 of the rain that's supposed to go like 8 whole days of rain.
Yeah. I saw the mudslide warnings out there too.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah,
man, it's not been raining this whole year. Like in 2020, it was raining like all the time. I was like, what they mean? It never rains in Southern California. 5 years later, okay, I see what they meant. Like it don't hardly rain out here. Hardly ever.
Right.
So I'm in hog heaven. If you can read between lines. So so moving right along. So, guys, I had to conjure up the spirit of, Deion Sanders. We got to get something going, maybe some little shirts, Big Nasty, Charles Haley. We need to get some spirit reinvigorated out there in Frisco, man, to get our Cowboys rolling, man. We got the Raiders, the most annoying. See, let me say something real quick. For all of y'all that say the Cowboys fans are annoying, I get it. Living in California, I get it. I do not like these California Cowboy fans. Sorry, that applies to you. I'm just saying I don't like y'all. However, the most annoying fan base, no matter where you go, is the Oakland, LA, Vegas Raiders. Can somebody say I'm lying on the panel?
No, I've been in the old Oakland Coliseum, where they played. Saw them in LA too. I've not been to Vegas yet. Shout out to my little brother Mike. He's out there kicking it right now.
Nice.
For tomorrow's extravaganza. So I'm looking forward to going to Vegas. But man, I've seen them on the road. I've seen them in their home digs. Actually, when they came here a couple times, they I think they definitely top the Cowboys fan in terms of just annoying as hell and obnoxious as hell. And probably I don't know if there's an unofficial stat, but that fan base has probably started the most in stands fights.
Oh yeah.
In NFL history, right? So yeah, they definitely take that title.
And I wasn't even talking about that part, but yeah, D Brown, there's goddamn verse right
Raiders
there.
fans will squabble
over nothing. And it's always
Over
the more
nothing.
round, rotund, out of shape Latino dudes. It never
paint.
fails. It never fails.
Accountant by day, asshole by night, right? So
what you got, Jason?
If you're fighting over fandom, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna stand up and fight for the Raiders, an organization who knows nothing about you. They don't know who you are, but you're gonna fight for them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Over fandom. You deserve to have your ass whipped. Right? I mean, if now again, this is the thing. Now I get this, I understand, man. Like, and I'm not talking, it does take 2 to tango, but hey, look, man, sometimes in life, and I can attest to this, a motherfucker just really wants to go.
Yep.
And they won't let you go. And you don't have no choice. Now, I'm not talking about the individual that's defending themselves. But if you're such a goof that you work yourself into a pervert wanting to fight someone over fandom, right? Jesus, Mary and Joseph, man. What are we doing? Yeah, Raider fans like that. It's, it's funny, right? Because it seems like the drama with the fist fights and shit is always out west. You know what I'm saying? San Francisco Giants, Dodgers games, right? Raiders games.
Yeah.
Right. And we all remember back in '81 where at Candlestick, where a San Francisco fan was lobbing bags of urine into the Cowboy fan section. Right. So, I mean, people get really passionate about football. They really do.
I gotta come kill you. I gotta come choke you out. If you're doing stuff like that, I gotta come choke you out. I ain't gonna fight a little bit, but nah, you throw pee on me. It's nah.
It's time to go.
So that's actually a very apropos comment you made, JC, and I got my Astros hat on. I went to the Astros and Mets games 2 last year at Dodger Stadium with my Astros garb on because, I forgot how much they hate us, and I don't even care like that. I don't care about the Dodgers at all. I had my shit on, and I swear to God, every Edgar that is over the age of 40, they could not help themselves of trying to talk shit. And some of them, in good fun, but some of them, had a little too many Dos Equisas in them, was really talking that hot shit. And I had to talk it right back. I'm like, no, who the fuck you talking to? And then they always get behind their homeboys and shit. Like it was like I was by myself. Bro, and so yeah, you it's something about the West Coast. Like they overfan. I guess maybe because they pay so high taxes, that's their release. Well, I say that, but it's something to that, JC. You nailed that West Coast fan thing. You nailed that, bro.
I don't and who in their right mind would want to pop off the cliff? All right, he's like 6'11" and shit. Like, hey man, before you come pop that shit to me, you better get you a stepladder, playboy.
Hey, I'm gonna hit you with whatever.
I don't know why anybody would want to pop off the cliff. Seriously,
I'm too old to be fish fight. I'm gonna hit you with whatever is in my hand. They get the hell away from me. But anyway,
go up to this big dude about his hat. Jesus,
yeah. Get a bottle across your head. But at any rate, so man, so the name of the show today is "What Happens in Vegas." So we got the Vegas, the Raiders. So this is going to be, a bounce back game after a disappointing loss against the Cardinals, a disappointing loss to our defensive line, Mr. Marshawn. And now, a good week to just get it all out the way. Great trade. We plugged up that middle with Quentin Williams. So now this is our time to show out our newly rolled out Dallas Cowboys and Hooker, who's playing what's my man? Linebacker. Logan Wilson.
Yep.
So we have, a few new toys to roll out after a week of preparation, which is perfectly planned. I mean, for all the Jerry Jones dislikers and dissenters, this is a pretty good transition now. It'd be better if we won that damn game. It would make a lot more sense. But we'll see if this is, a right now situation or a build for next year's situation. I think this game will be the final nail in the coffin for that theory. So we brought up some of the guys. Let's talk a little bit about the actives and inactives for this week. This should be the rollout for one Overshown, right?
I saw no inactives on the report. Said Cowboys, no inactives. None. Nada.
Really? Even Solomon Thomas? Is Solomon Thomas active?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
He might be, but
I
didn't see his name.
Cavalry's coming and they need it. We already know.
So what about
Diggs is still out.
Sorry,
Diggs has to sit because of the IR.
Yeah, I saw no inactives, and I was like, maybe it's just one of those roster procedural things. Like he's been out. I don't know. I mean, I don't expect Diggs to play today. Tomorrow night. That's for sure.
Yeah, because because they put him on IR.
They are getting Ravel back, and
is this Wilson, game 3?
And they got Williams coming.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to make a massive difference, man. I can't help but think that's going to make a big, big difference. Against the Raiders, a team with the size and the power of the New York Yankees, the speed, the player development of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and the precision of Army, the Black Knights of the Hudson, the greatness of the Raiders. God, I love Al Davis, man. Really Al Davis. All the cats coming back, man, are going to help, man. I mean, I can't help but worry about, Overshown, but they say he's ready, and he says he's been ready. Okay, Ravel, we didn't know about him. Now, we're hearing, like, again, somebody's pops weighs in, which is cool, man. It's good that cats have relationships with their fathers. But he was like, he's been ready too. And, he's a real, if you've seen any of the East Carolina film on this kid, he's a very, very physical, long corner, right? Like, he's got a little hand in him too, man. He's a good tackler. He probably will be the best blitzing defensive back from what I've seen that the Cowboys have on their roster. Not that they do that a ton. They used to do it with Donovan Wilson a little bit. But, man, I'm super excited about it. Again, you kind of have that dream of Diggs, Ravel on the outside, and Bland in the slot. It's like, okay, man, here we go. Now, like we said, I don't see Diggs is not going to play. The crawl must have been wrong about no inactives. And again, they got until like 5 o'clock or some shit tomorrow to announce or whatever, who's playing and who's not. So I think, man, this is going to be. I think the defense should look markedly different. We always talk about everything happening at the point of attack in the line of scrimmage. You got a guy, Quinnen Williams, who, as we have said before on this show, a guy that he's like, when you think of the Jets, as bad as the Jets have been, the first guy I always thought of was Quinnen Williams, maybe Sauce, when Sauce was there, right? Like, a couple of good players, not a ton. But Quinnen was always the first guy that I kind of thought of, man, like, wow, what a player he is, just consistently top 5. Defensive tackle, run and pass. So again, we're hearing a little bit of the rumblings about some 5-man sets, which would be, Clowney, Osa, Clark, Williams, and Ezeraku, who Clowney and Ezeraku were the only guys that played worth a crap a couple weeks ago against Arizona. So I'm super excited and looking forward to seeing what the new outfit looks like. Again, the Raiders have struggled mightily. All right, they traded away Jacoby Myers. Geno Smith is not having a good season at all. Ginty has struggled because their offensive line is the most patchwork group in the NFL. They've had tons of injuries, and then they've had guys that just flat out can't play. So, it's still an NFL game. I want to temper any enthusiasm that I have afterwards, if I do indeed have said enthusiasm afterwards, because I'm expecting a Cowboy win, because it is the Raiders. But, hey, you got to get going sometime, and you can only play who's on the roster. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the new defensive cats.
Absolutely. Well said. I mean, the official list of the inactives, Malik Hooker on the IR list, Solomon Thomas is out, Junior Thomas is out, Junior, however you pronounce that shit. Johnny Cornelius on the O-line, he is questionable. Asia Clark, safety, he's questionable. And, yeah, that's going to be the injured list updated from now. So, okay. So, so I guess we kind of have gone through that part of when we see who's going to line up. And so, so we can move forward, man, to the prestigious Rodney.
Right.
An award, I mean,
I love it.
Pinky up as I have a drink. All right, so the Lucky Whitehead Award. So I mean, it's a bye week. It's kind of making it a little rougher than usual to do it, but I'm gonna give it to Overshown, man, of giving us that nice little hope from last year to be out for 10 weeks, to play, to get active. I think he has a pitch count, so I'm gonna give mine to Overshown, man. Just I've been following him pretty handily, and he seems very excited to get out there. And I think that's a good caveat to this year of someone coming in with some fresh energy.
That's a good pick, man. Yeah, that's a good pick, and for a good reason. I think I'm gonna give it to management, man, for pulling the trigger on the Quentin Williams deal.
Yeah.
The more I've thought about that deal, the more I like it from the standpoint of not only will you see an immediate, I think you see, an immediate improvement in the middle of the line because he's too good of a talent and what he'll allow a guy like Kenny Clark and maybe even Clowney and Ezraku to do because of the attention that he'll draw because he's such a disruptive cat. To get a guy like that when you sorely needed it, right? And this has been almost as big a recurring problem as the linebacker situation as far as Dallas in the middle of their defensive, middle of their defense period from D-line to linebacker to safety. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give that one to I'm going to give the Rodney Lucky Whitehead Award this week to management as far as the bye week because of the move that they made to get a talent like in this for now and to cement this. He's under contract, for the next couple of years as well. So we get to see this an immediate result and knowing that he'll be in the lineup for the next couple of years. So shout out to management on the Rodney Lucky Whitehead Award.
Your pick. JC, what you got for us?
I'll go with Overshown as well, man. I'm very excited to see what he does in pass coverage more than anything else. I mean, I think he's without a doubt their best pass coverage linebacker. But again, it's there's the things you think about with Overshown is that he could do so many different things. He could rush a little bit. He could play the run really well, man. Gets down the line really well on the run. I mean, he's an exciting football player, man, that makes all kinds of plays. Every year that he's been out since his rookie year, they've missed the guy because he shows up. Yeah. I'm very excited to see what he does and how he helps the pass coverage when he's out there. From the linebackers at second level, because I don't expect a ton of blitzing. So that's really what I'm going to be watching.
Love it. Yep. Love it. Oh, and matter of fact, for my Houston folks, love it, man. Let me say it right. Shout out our viewers Between the Game Sports, my brother in real life at XL Pro. Appreciate y'all being a part of the show.
What up, man? Okay.
Oh, also, I'm gonna match Zen's 5. So you guys stay tuned to the end of the show. We're gonna give out a $10 cash app if you can do the Dallas Cowboy trivia question, which it ain't super hard. And listen, you got this thing in your hand, a smartphone. I mean, shit. Free $10. Shit. I'm just saying. All right, so yeah, we got that coming up, so y'all stay tuned to win a little payola. All right, man, so let's move the chains on the field. Move those chains, to quote the late, great Richard Walker, which is almost a year of his passing. One of our
that dude, man. Big Rich.
Founding members of this show. So I want to give Big Rich his props as we move the show forward. Move those chains. All right, so let's do it, man. So let's talk about
a great book. I've got it, by the way.
What'd you say?
I said, Move the Chains. Great book. I've got it, by the way. R.I.P. Rich. It's been a year. In a couple of days, it will be exactly a year. And he's totally, it's still surreal to me. He's totally missed. Great man.
100%.
Yeah, and it's and unfortunately, my birthday's tomorrow, and I'm going to be constantly reminded that I think the day after my birthday is when it happens. So that's going to be an unfortunate thing. It's going to always be in the back of my mind. So yeah, so one time for Richard Walker, man, founding member of Straight Up Chase
for the big fella
podcast. Yeah. So to kind of piggyback off what we just were talking about with the defense, the defense in total, in particular, the defensive line has a new feature that they want to show as a 5-man front to kind of utilize our kind of flux of defensive tackles, and to kind of basically stymie the run game. So gentlemen, I want to hear some of your insights about our new toy that we have, a Buzz Lightyear of the pile of toys, as it were, with Quentin Williams, and how those those packages may look going forward.
Well, man, I think like you said, to piggyback off of what I'd referenced, with management bringing in Quentin Williams, man, when you bring in a talent that is irrefutably one of the top guys at his position in the entire league, and added to a unit that sort of needed it with this Cowboys front. I'm not only interested to see what he does individually, but how he impacts, performances of guys like, Odigizua, guys like Kenny Clark, and most specifically Odigizua, because this is a guy, again, who the Cowboys paid a ton of money in the offseason as their big free agents play, and retaining him and paying him a lot of money. So the expectation there is for him to perform. And, I think we can all be honest here and say that he has not played to his contract to this part of the season. He's been one of the bigger disappointments as far as this defensive line side goes. He's had splashes there, but not the consistency in terms of being disruptive that you would want to see from a guy you paid that kind of money. But under no circumstance would Oso Odighizuwa, and I think JC will readily agree with me on this, would he ever be confused or be considered on the tier of a Quentin Williams, right? A guy like him can only be, because I remember my man JC, I think he very immediately and very aptly rated him that he's probably, 12th, 14th, I think it was, as you said, Joey, in terms of, because I know you had a little bit of consternation with the number that they gave him, but when you bring in a guy like that, I think what I'm hopeful to see is that he brings them up, right? In terms of, because of the attention that he'll draw, on top of his ability to make disruptive plays. And, I think from what we saw, from the older gent and Jadeveon Clowney, again, this is a guy I think that can benefit huge from a Quentin Williams, because, Jadeveon Clowney in these last couple games, particularly when he's got more snaps, has shown that he's still got some disruptive dog in him. He's been in the league a long time now. He's gotten his sea legs back, and he was one of the very, very, very few bright spots in terms of productivity in that Cardinals, debacle. I couldn't believe how he was getting off the ball and just winning at the line of scrimmage. What Cowboys had 5 sacks in that game. And he had a lot to do. If he didn't get there directly, he had a lot to do with other guys eating. So, again, bringing this guy Williams in, I think I'm hopeful that it brings these other guys up.
Yeah. Because
of the attention that he'll draw. And lastly, the fact that they're gonna, or they, we've heard the buzz about the 5 up front. With what we've lacked in the linebacking core, right? And you got a guy like Williams who can really, really just, destroy the point of attack. Hopefully those extra bodies, particularly on the edges, can crash down now, because they've got to pay so much attention to Williams and what he does winning matchups in the middle. Will help them, maybe secure the edges a lot better, because we can go highlight after highlight after highlight. How many really long runs have the Dallas defense given up on the edges, right? It's like their edges don't exist. It's like
like a bad chicken in the hood whose edges don't exist.
Yeah, I was just going there, dog. This is why I know we relate. I was like, bro, this it's like a hood chick before payday. She has no edges, right? So yeah, roguish, man. It's like, so yeah, she ain't quite got him laid yet. So hopefully that alignment, man, will with the addition of the big fella, help them secure edges, man, and look more like a disruptive unit. And if with Overshown, being able, because the guys are better occupied up front, and his ability, and I'm really anxious to see his ability with lateral move, because that was such a devastating injury that he had. I mean, the dude pretty much shredded his knee. So man, if he can be just 80% of what he was in terms of his lateral movement and his ability just to have that suddenness and that burst, because you got Williams and now hopefully Odighizuwa and Clark, really wrecking things up front. He can diagnose these plays and, get to those gaps like we've seen him be able to do. I went back and watched him Overshown tape, man. I was like, good God, they missed this dude. So I just hope everything just rolls off the presence of Williams, and that's what I'm hopeful to see, that he's not just going to do it all himself, be this Superman deal, but everybody comes up because he's there.
Rising tide raises all boats. I like it. JC, what you got for us?
Yeah, I agree. I think, well said, DB. I agree. I think that it's kind of a domino effect. Oh, real quick, if I could just interject on the hood chick thing. Don't you hate it when, like, they're fine as hell from the back, and then you're like, wow, look at that. And then they turn around and they got like a boiler and shit. And they still like the midriff and they got the boiler out. Like, damn. Anyway.
Hey, the story of my high school life. Go ahead.
I gotta, exactly. Right. You don't know, like, Jesus Christ, is she 22 or is she 38?
Right? I'm gonna tell you what high school.
I'm just envisioning it, right? They probably got sandals on and some fucking hot pants and shit. Anyway, my bad. With Williams, I really do think it's a domino effect. I really believe that, that he literally, like, you could add a little bit just by his presence to each guy down the line.
Correct.
Like, you feel like you'll make everybody better, just with his presence out there, man. I mean, just the simple physics of the situation. Hey, man, we're adding another big cat, a legit top 5'3" big cat, and we're adding, a fast guy, and a smart guy in Wilson.
Right.
The shit's got to get better. It literally has to. And I think that Williams is the key. It's, we talk about line play here a ton, and it's funny how, normal fans and stuff watch the ball, and it all starts up front. Things are totally different either way when you're getting push or when you're getting, on the offensive line.
Correct.
And when you're getting pressure, we've talked about this. Cowboys, massive investment in line, and I love it. I think that, besides the missed time that Booker had, he's been fantastic. I'm hearing some things in terms of just the way he's grading out, and it's not necessarily PFF. There's other grading services out there.
Correct.
He's looking like a top 5 guard in the league. As a rookie.
Yeah,
we all felt good about the draft pick. Again, it's all about up front, and they had to do it. And because that unit up front, on both sides, but let's focus on, because that unit up front is such a symbiotic unit, if you will, in working together and so forth, right? You bring a cat in, right, and boom, oh shit, put 2 guys on it. Man, I cannot tell you how many times, right? I mind that I used to hoop with, man. He had a cup of coffee in the NBA. So when we would go play, he was hands down the best player on the court. And I used to love it because I got less attention. You know what I'm saying? I'm standing under the goal, waiting for dimes, right? That's the kind of palpable effect on that unit. Okay, right. Now they still play better behind them. But hey, man, we're throwing a couple linebackers into the mix and a DB, right? But on that unit, man, I think it's going to be tangible, palpable. You're going to be able to see it, and I think definitely we're going to see some results from it. Is it enough? Most are speculating that the Cowboys, need to go 6-2. I don't think 6-2 gets them in now. If the two losses were, take your pick out of, Vegas, Chiefs, and Chargers, okay, and you won the rest of your conference games down the stretch, okay, you know what? You might have a shot. So to me, in reality, I think it's a 7-1 type thing, and we're past all of the must-win type shit. You're 2 below 500. Actually, because you got a tie, you're 2.5 below 500. So you got to start winning games, man. It starts with this one, and just go get the win, man. Just go get it. I feel like the Raiders, and I don't want to get into too much game analysis in terms of, I think they're going to play better than people think. They're at home. It's Monday night. All right. But the Cowboys, again, here we are again. Cowboys need to win this one, and I think the additions on defense are gonna ensure that happens. I'm fairly confident.
I like it. Yeah, man. So I like the consensus that, basically you bring in what Colin Cowherd calls a force multiplier, who's young, Williams, and everybody kind of meets expectations. It's a funny thing about sports. Like when you get used to a certain thing, you get used to a certain thing. But when someone comes in with a different energy, people tend to meet, the level that the person is presenting. And I love using this reference. That I saw this video with these dogs, and like all these dogs were like in this 10-foot cage, and like all the dogs were like, chomping at the bits to get over the cage. I mean, it's 10 feet, so it's high as shit. And like one small dog was just like inching, and jumped over the cage. And guess what happened right after that? All of them motherfuckers jumped out the cage. So it just kind of shows you that when somebody takes the, literally the roof off a situation, it shows like, no, this is the new expectation. People generally come meet it. Why is that? Because when you go back into the foxhole and practice, that person's probably gonna call you to the carpet, like, man, why the fuck you ain't doing this, that, and the third, right? But if the status quo is, you tried your best, you did what you could do. When somebody like, nah, that ain't good enough. You'd be surprised, like human psychology, people will meet a different level once you set a different expectation.
Absolutely.
So how that goes by the numbers for our lowly Matt Eberflus influence defense. So far, we are second to last. Huh?
Cliff, did you say multiplier? I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you say force multiplier? That's fucking awesome. That's the that's the phrase I was looking for. Force multiplier. You heard that phrase here on Straight No Chaser. I love that. That's what I was thinking. My bad. Please continue, sir.
Well, I did borrow that from Colin Cowherd. I'm just keep it real. He did say that. So
force multiplier. I love that. It's
not used a lot though. So I'll take the backdoor action. Pause. All right, so the Cowboys are second to last in yards allowed at 397 yards per game, and that's just not good enough. I'm sorry, it's just not good enough. As far as pressuring the quarterback, in a tangible way, we are 20th in the NFL at 20 sacks. Our current sack leader is Ninja. That's James Houston with 3.5 sacks.
Jesus, I'm surprised they're that high.
The who?
The total numbers that they ranked 20th.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's 20. To be frank with you, I'm surprised. Like 20 ain't the most horrible thing in the world. We better than 12 other motherfuckers out there. So just saying. Also in turnovers, we are -4. The turnover difference at -4 at 20th. So by the numbers, this is how good, quote unquote, or bad for that matter, our defense is. So we definitely have a lot of room for improvement, especially with total yards given up. And I want to say, I think in pass yards given up, we're number 20th as well. So
like 250 some odd, right?
Yeah. It's like 254 is the yards we give up per game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So listen, man, we ain't the worst thing in the world, but we damn sure ain't good. So that kind of, gives some insight, and we'll talk about that with the predictions with one Geno Smith and one Alshon Jeanty of how that translates to them kind of getting their rocks off against an equally bad team on Monday. All right, so and before we get to the next segment, y'all, can you do me a favor? Can y'all hit the like button? Subscribe if you are new. And also, come on, man, at the end of the show, man, we got a nice giveaway for $10 on the Cash App if you can name our Dallas Cowboy trivia. So y'all can just do a solid. And also, like and subscribe to the Pass the Joint podcast as well. That's hosting this live stream with my man Jay Pastor on the boards. All right, let's move forward. So before we get to the predictions, we talked about this a little bit, but let's get back into it about the secondary room. As you know, my second round pick, Revel, is about to come back, into the fold, I believe. And, Deron Bland off of the embarrassing meme, literally getting on his ass 2 Mondays ago. There's a lot to be desired. Gentlemen, what are some of the insights about our secondary and what can we, can we expect as far as, having a way better performance after giving up that, that P, like I told y'all that could have happened.
Yeah.
That did happen with one backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. Gentlemen, your thoughts on our secondary and how we're going to look going forward?
Free Wi-Fi. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. No fly zone. Shout out to them, man. Let's go.
The pressure up front's got to help. It's the pressure up front's got to help. Those two units kind of, work in conjunction with one another. And like I said, the pressure's got to help, and it will if they get some good pressure. God, they're 20th in sacks. That stuns me. I didn't think they'd be that high. If they get some good pressure, in addition to, when you neutralize the run game, you make the passing situations more predictable. Which that's what you want to do. You want to give 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. Genty has not had a great year. That's not completely on him. I've seen the kid play. He runs hard. He does run hard, and he hasn't laid it on the ground that much. That's my understanding. The problem has just been that with their offensive line. With that secondary once again, this is the thing. We've talked about this. When you start putting new people in there, and all we've heard about is this communication thing, it's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be an adjustment. I don't think it's a coincidence. Again, we're referencing, our guy, Big Dan Campbell, and his secondary that has just been racked by injuries, and they're still, 8th, 10th, or whatever it is, at passing yards. And I think that's in large part because they are a man-heavy team. You talk about somebody dying on a hill, they go man-heavy. So when you bring a new guy in, it's like, all right, man, this cat's yours. This particular play, this cat is yours. Follow his ass around, and I think that does make transition easier. And, you keep hearing a lot about that, with the communication and Williams and Wilson, they dove into the playbook as soon as they got here. No problems there. Ravel and Overshown have been in the thing already. Okay. But I still expect some transition issues, in terms of, with the secondary and their quote unquote communication, which we keep hearing that word all the time. The main thing, man, is, fucking Brock Bowers, that bastard, probably the best tight end in the league in only his second year. Okay. This cat is difficult to deal with. You bracket him and they do stuff off of it. When you have, if you look at KC, their whole offense, man, with the changes that they've had at wide receiver, man, is because they have a really good tight end. I've just studied those guys relentlessly and the stuff they do with the tight end and off of the tight end. But you got to have competent people, along with him. And they, like I said, they just shipped out Myers, one of their better receivers. Bowers to me is the guy that really represents, and so to me, that's going to be linebackers. That's going to be bracket. Okay. You're going to really pay attention to this guy. You can't let him beat you because he can.
He's tough.
All right. And so, you're going to be looking at some play action and stuff like that. So this is where, you've got Genty. They want to get Genty going. You've got Bowers. What does that say? Play action. Get that tight end off. See if you can run the football and get that tight end off. And we all know, that play action, it creates that millisecond of hesitation, that you want, whether you're running the ball well or not. If you're committed to running the ball, that play action, you're still going to get that stop, freeze, that come down that you want when you do it. So we're going to see how the communication's going. We're going to see if they've made adjustments to their coverages, all right, which I feel like they have to have done that. All right, we're going to see. This is going to be, again, man, the Raiders have not been very good. I cannot say it enough. Still an NFL football team. They still got guys. They still got Crosby, okay, on that defense. All right, so it's going to be a test in that every week is a test in the NFL. But I think stylistically, man, you're going to be able to really see, just how quickly the changes will help. This defense with this game tomorrow night. I think you're going to see a lot of play action. You're going to see a lot of putting it in Jenny's belly. You're going to see a lot of, seam passes, 22 wide banana. You're going to see a lot of that tomorrow night. And so it's going to be a good test. It's going to be a good test, despite the Raiders' record.
Let me say this before you go, D. Brown.
Sure.
I think that's apropos, man, because if we've been handling business and shout out to Lewis, I'm about to butcher your name, bro. Vacriano. He says you guys should beat the Raiders, no problem. Now, conventional logic, that's absolutely correct. We should beat the hell out this weak ass team. Problem is, I don't know if we're good. I don't know if we're a weak ass team too. It's just so many disappointing games we didn't drop. I can name them. Now, even though Chicago is playing pretty good football, in retrospect, losing it, but to me, that's a game we should win. Losing, obviously, 2 weeks ago against the Cardinals, That's the game you should win.
Carolina.
Losing to the Panthers?
Yeah.
I get it. The Panthers are winning games. That's a game you should win if you're a good football team, right? So it's almost like, what are we really? You know what I mean? So, so I think JC kind of nailed it. Like, yeah, this is a game we should win. This is a game. This is a good game to win. But if we look at things, how we looked week 4, when we had a, kind of a full head of steam with a good loss against the Eagles. And, we were, competing, defensively, obviously not. But just overall, we had a lot of, high-ending, high-trending trajectory. And now we're kind of in reality mode. We're like, yeah, we hope we get a good game out the Raiders. When it should be BTA, if you've been following this channel for any time, we should be beating their ass. But it's funny how, time will humble you. So I want to say that as we keep it forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
no doubt.
You can't expect them to win any game. Shit. They don't even know who's going to win inter-squad scrimmages there with the Cowboys. You don't know what to expect out of this crew.
Yeah, I like both of the points you guys bring up. As far as the secondary piece goes, my whole contention with Dallas' secondary, to tie into the point you just made, Cliff, about we're a weak ass team too. Well, part of what has projected the weakness has been that secondary, right? From just bad play, from the guys who you were expecting things from.
Diggs.
Start with Diggs. Diggs, Deron. Let me start with your 2 All-Pros. Diggs, obviously Deron Bland last week. I mean, God, and I expect Bland to bounce back because he's been pretty solid. In the time that he's been in there, but he did get roasted by young Marvin Harrison Jr. So I expect him to bounce back. But I think that's been a very weak spot. Obviously, the linebacking crew, and we've seen the horrific film, on that crew. So I think part of, to your question, Cliff, in terms of, are we a weak ass team? Well, if you've got glaring weaknesses like they've had, and they've been exposed as consistently as they've been exposed, then you have to, in my mind, you got to conclude that, there's some weaknesses, there. And I think overall, as a defensive unit, with the lack of consistent pressure, the surprising sack numbers, but the lack of consistency in the pressure and the timeliness of that pressure as well. Seemed like when it was time for that unit to make a big play and get pressure on the quarterback, that's been lacking far more than you like, right? When they need to come up with a play. But the linebacking core in the back end has absolutely been a weakness. And, yes, they've had guys out. JC very appropriately referenced the Detroit Lions and their ability to overcome some pretty devastating injuries and still just, be Detroit, which has just been get after it, dominant deal. So, Cliff, from the hooping days, man, if we organized ball, even in pickup, man, we man it up and the guy's cooking you, that might be a bigger fight than anything. He's like, bro, you gonna hold this motherfucker or what? So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, hold your man, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, so the pride thing was referenced in pre-show, and from my guys then, and that's where a pride thing, you tend, as the professional athlete, he's like, man, look, today, I'm gonna focus on my technique. Today, I'm gonna focus on my responsibilities in this assignment, man, because I mean, not to drop my man in the high, in the catfish grease, but I'm not gonna have film like Deron Bland had, last time we played. I'm just not gonna do that.
That's some animal mixtape, hot sauce, brown shit right there.
Exactly right. So, maybe like we've referenced a couple times in the show today, maybe the residual effect of having, bringing in a guy like like Williams. And hey, let's talk about, even with what, Wilson can bring them from an intelligence, being able to diagnose a play standpoint, right? Man, maybe they help, guys step in the right direction, or be in the right spots before the play. Reading more about him in this bye week, in this off time, that's one of the things that he really, he's like really been touted for as far as his career is being able, to quickly and intelligently diagnose plays will help. We've seen some of that film. They could use that too. So, and maybe that helps that back end as well. But I think, just from the lack of production from those you expected, the lack of, I think the fall off in talent from those who have been asked to play, right, has been evident. And that's what gives you, concern going into, the Raiders have had a horrible year. Geno's not been good and what have you, but I don't want him to repeat the performances of other quarterbacks that we've talked about prior to seeing the Cowboys, and they look like world beaters having played them, right? So we'll see what happens. And, maybe he'll, like my man JC often references, and, let's have some pride, boys. Where's your pride? So maybe they shore it up with their new additions. And
Pride.
yeah, that pride, man. Let's shore it up with the new additions, particularly in that secondary. And, and just, get some PBUs. I'm not even looking for I would love to see a pick or two, but man, just get some good old passes defense, some pass breakups, some good PBUs out here, and just make a play when the ball comes your way. Make a play, damn it, make a goddamn play.
Yep, make a damn play. Straight up, man. Like, again, to quote JC, have some pride, boys.
Yes,
pride.
Absolutely.
So you said that they were -4 in turnovers?
-4.
God, that's even worse than I thought. You could probably count, and you know what? We probably go back and count up on one hand, I'm saying, on both sides, right? Because it's not like Dak's thrown a ton of interceptions and they've had a ton of fumbles. But yeah, it's like last year. Last year they got sacked, but they didn't get turnovers.
Correct.
And those are critical. Those are absolutely critical. When a team is getting the better of you, and you're like, damn, we can't get stops.
Right.
Can we get a turnover? Well, no, it's not likely. In the NFL, this ain't college. This ain't like A&M in South Carolina yesterday, where A&M's just sort of farting around all over the place. Yeah, come back and win. Man, you start doing that shit in the NFL, man, these guys don't say, okay, cool, we're moving the ball. Now, let's just give it to them. Let's lay it on the ground. Let's throw it to the other guys. That doesn't happen, man. That window narrows and narrows and narrows as you're, when you're getting the better of somebody, as Cliff says, putting that boot to ass, BTA, right? You keep doing it, and it narrows what you do in terms of risk-taking and play calling, as it should. That's what coaches are for. You know what I'm saying? Just to monitor and maintain and remind and so forth, and to play the percentages. In the NFL, man, like that window, it starts to squeeze on you when the other team starts getting the better of you. And again, that you don't, we talked about it all the time. Come out and get off to a quick start. That I think is the key.
Yep. Come out to a quick start and listen, man, Justin's right, man. Our quarterback is our defense, man. Like, he has to control the time of the game so we can have less gaps on that side of the field, or it's going to be a shootout every time. And listen, last few weeks, Dak has shown he's not a shootout guy as it stands right now, and that's the crazy thing about sports, man. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes mentally, subconsciously, from an inner team perspective. And I'll give you an example. Week 2, the Miami Dolphins, or the tuna the tuna fishes at this point, they had a all players meeting week 2, and I was gonna make a video, but my editor, we couldn't get the audio right. I was like, sell your Dolphin stock right now. If they having an all teams meeting week 2, they're done. Trust me, that was before Tyreek Hill got injured. But something's wrong with Coach McDaniel. I'm sure he'll be gone this year. Something is way wrong with that team. That's some shit you do mid-season, late season, when or like you getting your ass whooped all season. It's like, all right, let's try to just finish respectably. Because that's happened to me in my own college career. If that's happening week 2, that's some carryover from last year. And y'all finish. So I know that's more of an extreme situation, but I'm just kind of saying, like, some of the things that kind of fly on the radar does affect, the overall product that you see on the field. So with that being said, hopefully Dak has bounced back, because 80% of the year he's looked like a MVP candidate. Not so much as of late, against Denver, not so much. Against the Cardinals, not so much. But listen, you got a bye week. You got you a new toy again in that middle with one Williams. And so we're going to see what it looks like going forward, man, because this has to be something that you can easily, well, not easily fix, but it's fixable, with the right situation.
The proverbial reset button, sir.
There you go. The proverbial reset button. God damn it, to land the plane on my filibustering to the point I was trying to make. But yeah, man, so I am looking forward to all those things culminating, with our D-line, with our secondary, probably getting a boost from a guy who's a guy, only 27 years old coming in. So I'm hoping that some new spirit into, our defensive unit. Because listen, let me say this last thing. Because, conventional thinking says it's time to get Matt Eberflus TF out of there. But some people saying, okay, we've had 3 coordinators in 3 years. Is that the way to go to keep the line shuffling? We'll see. We'll see. Now, if you ask me, I'm like, hey, man, get him out of here, bro. Like, as bad as, that looks to have 3 different coordinators in 3 years, nobody has looked as bad as he has. Am I tripping? Am I lying?
No. And referenced even in our chat, I was really, it's the way to go if he's demonstrated that he's never really been that guy, right? It's kind of like
Al Harris.
It's kind of like D'Angelo Russell with the Mavericks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why the hell would you go spend that money when he was never really like a piece? I mean, he was just a guy, right? He never had that one element that you could hang his out like, boy, if he brings that to the team, it's gonna help translate into winning games. If you go back to Matt Eberflus's history as a defensive coordinator, he's never really had that signature season or units with a signature performance. You're like, damn, man, you think about guys like Wade Phillips. Like, if you hired Wade Phillips to run your defense, you knew damn well that defense was going to improve dramatically, right? Just certain guys and certain coaches, when you bring them to coordinate a unit, be offensively or defensively, they have track records, the good ones, where you know that things are going to change and things are going to improve if they were brought in to, help improve what was a bad situation on that side of the ball. And Eberflus doesn't have that history, so that was a questionable hire from beginning. So to your point, Cliff, yeah, get him TF out of here, because what the hell was he really bringing, from a pedigree in the first place? And this unit, looks discombobulated, this communication thing, whatever is contributing to that lack of communication. I don't know what they
love hiring former head coaches.
Yeah, right.
They love hiring former head coaches.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what the vernacular is in terms of how they communicate or what have you. I'm not that intimately familiar, with how they do things. But whatever it is, it's translating to guys looking like, the Three Stooges, and you can play the Benny Hill music because you got guys running through the secondary, just like, and the guys are pointing, the Spider-Man meme where you're pointing and these guys
everybody pointing the same again.
It's like you got crisscross and they look completely disjointed, and they've done that for too many times. And it's like I said before, coordinators get big checks. Your whole job description is to coordinate. You got to coordinate the thing, man. You got to, yeah. You got the mushroom belt has to match the mushroom lining, bro. It has to coordinate, and it just hadn't happened. So, it's the Eberflus point, man. Got me kind of wound up because it's like that's one of those things that has to be fixed in the offseason, and we'll see how things move forward from this game Monday to the remainder of the season. But even if it improves a little bit, yeah, let's do something different there. And the last thing is, because you referenced the Dak bouncing back thing, I just very quick add. I would say, can Dak / offensive line bounce back? Because I think the offensive line performance has dipped. And we have to be reminded that these are still really young guys finding their way. Booker, to Joey's point earlier, has been really, really good. I think they've absolutely nailed it as far as the investment of the first round pick in him. But as a unit, they've dipped a little bit. Dax has seen, I think, markedly increased pressure from, and a lot of times even from the front four. They in Denver, they just, and even in Arizona, they just got whipped up front. And I think that directly affects Dak's performance. So I think as that unit within the unit goes, I love to see them, Dak and Slash, the OL, bounce back because, that's going to help the run game. That's going to help Dak do what he does to utilize these weapons he's got on the outside and in Big Jake. So we'll hope that'll translate too. But even Flus, tell your ass.
There it is. There doggone
Hey,
is.
D'Angelo Russell had 28 points the other night. Get off D'Angelo. They lost, but don't worry about that.
Hey, that is D-Lo. I've seen it on the Lakers twice. That's what D-Lo do. He gonna frustrate the hell out of you when the smoke clears. You be like, get this dude the hell out of here. 2 times I've seen it happen. So I'm just saying. All right. So it's that time to win a little money. If you've been hanging around, let's go ahead and drop that trivia question, please, Zen Master. All right, so guys, we have 30 seconds. The Cowboys started their legend in 1960. Their record was 0-11-1. They were led by an 8th season and former Washington Redskin quarterback. Who was it who had the touchdown? I can't see the rest.
That's a good one. I bet Cliff knows that. I bet DB knows this one.
That was his rest of the question. 0-11-1. They were led by an 8th season and former Washington Redskin quarterback. Oh, yeah. Absolutely not.
Smartphones are allowed.
And I wasn't born yet, but I wasn't far.
Yeah, no, it's wild. They had these things called books and shit. That you could find out about stuff that happened before you were born.
Way too much.
Apparently these so-called books have been banned in several states with this new generation.
Hey, my second to last year teaching, I taught English in middle school. I told my kids you can write a book report. You can use 2 online sources, not Wikipedia. Boy, it was like telling them they had to go and cultivate a society from ground up. It's like, what you mean we can't use Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Wikipedia
That's a
wrong
great question,
sometimes.
by the way. Good job, Zan. That was I don't know, Zan, was that you or Cliff? I don't know who came up with. That was Zan. Zan, that was a good look, man. That's a show enough trivia question. I like those. I like it.
All right, so nobody got it in the chat, guys. That's $10 you could have had in your pocket. That's coffee money. That's a little bit, half pint Crown Royal money. What you doing? So the answer to our trivia question is the great Eddie Lawton.
It's Eddie LeBaron, correct? Yep.
Eddie LeBaron.
5'7". Yep. The 5'7" Eddie LeBaron. He was a good little football player, but hey, 12 and 25 ain't a good ratio.
I damn sure ain't know that because that's way before my time.
Eddie LeBaron. Yep.
Eddie LeBaron. All right, man. So next week, man, hey, you guys got a chance to put a little change in your pocket. So let's move it on. So we kind of teased this already, but let's talk about Dak Prescott bouncing back, and then we'll go into our predictions, and then we'll turn you loose and go watch some football. So let's talk about it, man. So we teased it already that Dak has not had a great 2 weeks after being one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. So let's just talk about some of the things. I guess we can do it this way. What are some of the things that he needs to do to get to the point where, he can bounce back to that level that he was with this new reinvigorated, defensive line and now help in the secondary?
Just better OL play and not press. When I say not press, there was the one play in particular, I think right before halftime of the Denver game, where there were points on the board. They were well within Brandon Aubrey's range. I think it was right before half of that game. And he tried to press one right down the seam to Jake Ferguson. It was like Dak. That's a play that Dak had made, prior to that all season long. And just trying to get too much. And I think Dak, internally, Dak, obviously Dak is, as seasoned as he is, and he gets to the mic knowing he's a face. He says a lot of the right things, very politically correct, and everything that goes with that. But I know Dak has probably looked at this thing and feels as some of those losses that we talked about were mounting, right? These are games that that were there to be had, and they didn't get them. So now at that point of the season, and actually reflecting for the last 2 weeks, I think Dak has pressed a little bit. So individually, I think just get back to being that guy in terms of having the command at the line of scrimmage, taking what's given even under duress. Maybe getting back to using his legs a little bit, like he was in the early part of the season, which was very timely and very productive. Even on those 4 or 6 yard stats, keep them out of 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, or behind the chains. You got a much more manageable 3rd downs where you can utilize your weapons. And I think in order for him to do that individually or be more efficient and effective individually, his big fellas up front, have got to get back to doing a little bit better job, closer to the job that they were doing prior to this little skid that Dak's been on. But if there's one guy that, because I've seen him do it, if I one guy I fully expect to get back on his game and play to the level he's capable of playing at, is Dak.
Well said.
I think that the coach also has to help him a little bit. I think if they're having protection busts, go hard with the run. Go hard with the run. Don't do anything stupid. The thing is that you would like to believe that if your defense is upgraded, okay, if your defense is upgraded, man, then hey, you don't have to do much wild ass stuff. You know what I'm saying? Put the onus on them to have to score. You got to put the foot in football, kick field goals, fine. I think it's all about, it's just exactly what DB said. That is the first thing that, you're thinking of. O-line, how are they going to do? And it's still, it's still up in the air as to how they're going to do, with the, the inconsistency, from the tackles. I mean, that just kills you. They built a great pocket. These tackles have got to start playing a lot better, man. Be deliberate. Okay. You can be deliberate. You can slow it down, take the air out of the football. You don't have to be in a rush to look all fly and shit. You need to win the game. That's when we talk about a big reset, they don't have to come out and, just set the world on fire. Just get a dub. Get a dub, and then we'll go back and look at how, you could have played better. But the thing is to get a dub. And so that's by hook or by crook. Okay. If you got to slow it down and run it a little bit more, man, and do just that. 3, 5, 2, whatever. Boom. Get up. Be deliberate. Be slow. Walk back to the huddle. Line it up and do it again, man, if you can't pass block. All right? That's the main thing. I mean, if we all, I think, feel like that if Dak has time, or Dequarius, as Cam Newton called him, if he's got time, he'll be just fine. Dequarius will be just fine if he's got time. As long as he's got time to throw, he'll be good to go. So again, here we are again. It's the inconsistency of the tackles in the O-line. That's what we're banking on. They've got to be better. They have not been very good pass blocking these past couple of games. It's been bad. Yes. All right. So got to be better up front.
Yeah, man. So I wrote down a few notes about things that Dak need to do. And a few problems is, like JC kind of was lamenting too, of being deliberate. Like we got to stop getting cute on these gotta have it downs. We got to get to plays that, when you run the numbers, football's full of analytics that that this play will work in this situation. Get the first and keep the chains moving. Like we're getting cute with Dak sometimes, and I get it, man. He's taking that step up to be a guy. But when we should, be going, short yards, we're like 3rd and 6, and he's looking for Pickens up top, and it's a botch throw, and we're off the field punting it. Like we gotta mitigate those opportunities, because we're reverting back to those situations. I always say that we going for these unnecessary field goal situations, or we put in these 4th down situations that we're not converting. Again, are we kicking those, what I call cowboy touchdowns, which are field goals, right? So we got to mitigate those stalled drives. Like Dak has to just listen, man. If you got to go back to Jason Witten mode, like, yo, it's 3rd and 4, you get your fat ass out to that damn flat. Hey, toe tap, fall your fat ass down 4 yards, move the chains. Like, that's what it need to be. We need to get situational football right, man. Like, because I'll give you an example. Denver. Come out, get an interception, start the game off. We, get a turnover, and we got command of the game. Our drive does nothing. Like, you should have dialed up with all them goddamn weapons you get. And I get it. The O-line has not been great, but that's kind of been tantamount of Dak's career. Either elite O-line and then a patchwork O-line. Elite O-line, then a not so great O-line. At this point, like, you should understand what you have going as far as, like, if your O-line is not giving you good protection, you got to have your quick outs, man. You got to have your quick reads. Get the ball out because you got an infinite amount of weapons, or get the run game going so they can respect the fact that, you will and can do that with a very capable running back, rather. Now, I don't know what Jaden Blue has going on, but I mean, Williams is more than enough. He's shown that he can be our bell, right? So, and we may need to get some more, like, some looks of motion. Like, I mean, we look good the first 3 weeks, just having guys in motion, having them guess. Now, I understand that film comes out, you start to see patterns, and the same thing doesn't work. But I'm just sorry, man. You got George Pickens, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Ferg, you got fucking Turpin. We even talk about Turpin this whole stream. Like, you got infinite amount of weapons. So again, if you got to get some out quick, like, this is a combination of all the iterations of Dak Prescott has been throughout his career. At first, being they call him a Dink and Dacker, being making a safe play every time, and then becoming the gaudy stats Dak Prescott of 2020. He's putting up league MVP numbers. So now, like, it's almost like watching Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes can be whatever you need him to be. You need him just to play down the distance. Just move the chains. He can do that. If you need him to sling that bitch 70 yards, he can do that. It's all of a combination. We talk about a team with no defense. I mean, that was him last year, like having to play and a shot of your line at that, right? But he's still
receivers that couldn't catch.
And they got Juju McSchuster. You know what I'm saying? Juju, what is his last name? How you say his last name? Smith.
Smith-Schuster. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a retread guy. You know what I mean? And Xavier Worthy, a nice young lion, but Hollywood Brown been out for significant time. Like, he had a lot of success with a lot of bum ass receivers. If we just being honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dak Prescott, I mean, I know he'll never be a Pat Mahomes, but like, when does he hit that level when, like, okay, all these things are not right, but I'm gonna get y'all right. Get to your spots. I'm gonna get you to where the ball needs to be, and we're gonna win this goddamn football game. And it's like kind of what Will's comment was, like, he wants to be an overall pleaser. Sometimes you gotta let everybody know to get their shit together, and that's just that's pretty much encapsulates my point. It's like, so when do you walk that walk the entire season? Like, I get it, everything ain't perfect around you. Your defense is trash, but I watched that same guy. The guy you replaced behind center with no defense when one Tony Romo light that motherfucking scoreboard up with nothing going on in the defensive end.
4 of his first 5 years, he did that.
Come on.
And those 8 and 8.
The 8 and 8, yeah.
The 8 and 8 teams, all 3 of those teams had no business seeing 8 wins.
Absolutely.
To your point. So I love the point you're making.
So would you say, JC?
It's an anomaly that you go 8 and 8 when your quarterback plays that good. And just real quick, bye week, Javonte Williams is averaging about 16 carries a game. Today would be a great day, man, to get him up to 20. I mean, tomorrow night could be a time where it'd be perfect for him to ramp it up and maybe get 20 carries. I think it sets up perfectly, man, to feed it to him a little bit more.
Absolutely. And so to kind of land the plane on my thesis, watching some quarterbacks do a lot with a little, it's kind of time, because I've seen Dak this year take a huge step forward and regress a little bit. So it's like, if you're that guy who you've shown me to be, because I'm very high on Dak when I was kind of indifferent to, like, wanting to get the fuck out of here about 3-4 years ago. So now, I've settled my own fanship. So it's time for you to be as good as advertised. It's time to get back in your bag, because you've been in your bag all year long. And lead these guys to victory, because you got that help on defense now in the secondary, as we talked about, and definitely on that D-line. So it's no excuses, man. Just put up a shut up as far as I'm concerned with Dak Prescott.
There it is. Yeah, I love the point about getting them. You know what's not working, so getting them into plays, and I think to mesh JC's point too, his coach has to help him out there too. Um, in terms of because they are in sync in terms of the offensive game plan and the flow as things are going, what their plan was going into the game, how things are developing as the game unfolds. So they both are being held to that standard as the play caller, as the guy pulling the trigger. You get up there. We know Dak has full autonomy to get them in and out of the plays that he sees once in the line, and he's shown that propensity to be that guy for most of this season. The last couple of weeks he hasn't, regardless of some of the tackle chaos that JC referenced, which has not been good. But combat that would getting him out of that deal would look to be a obvious passing situation. Check to a play where you got to drop. Where you got these guys getting upfield and you run right past them. Just to help, like you said, mitigate some of those situations where we're not kicking it or scoring the Cowboy touchdowns, as you said. But this is a guy. We've seen Dak over the years have short stretches like this, and then you kind of scratch it like, damn, Dak, tighten up, and then he goes off for the next 4 or 5 games. It's like a fucking world beater, like within the season. That's happened multiple times. So I fully expect that to happen now because he's at the point in his career where he's pretty much seen it all, right?
Absolutely.
He's kind of getting at that point where Romo was before the last injury that took him out. There was nothing you could show number 9 that would fool him, and he had gotten to the point where he was just, okay, whatever you come with, I'm gonna kill it, whether it be a blitz, be in its type of twist or stunts or whatever you were throwing at him. He had gotten to that point, because he had natural ability anyway. I think Dak is starting to arrive at that point. And hopefully, to JC's final point, tomorrow night would be a great night to get back to that. Right. And help him, give Javonte Williams a few more carries. As effective as he's been, that's quarterback's best friend. Right. Get back to some of that stuff. Utilize that play action. So, because play action, Dak, when it's going, is as good as there is in the league.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's get back to some of that to both you guys' point. And tomorrow night would be as good a time as any to get to it.
Who there it is? The tag team was said in the early 90s.
Indeed. Yes, sir.
Who there it is. Yeah. All right, so as we land the plane on this show, man, thank y'all. Let me say that first for tuning in. Thank y'all for keeping the comment section active. Like and subscribe if you are new. And, even if you're not new, the like button is mandatory. Come on, man, that's law. And y'all also hit the notification bell on both channels so you guys can get notified every time we go live with Straight No Chaser. All right, so the last point of the show, predictions. Gentlemen, what do we think our final score is looking like? There we go. We got Zen with the graphics popping off. So Zen did a simulation, and I'm sad to report, out of 3 games simulated, the Cowboys lost 2 of them. So, but as they say in Dumb and Dumber, so you saying there's a chance?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
All right,
indeed.
so
good shit.
Yeah.
So I love that movie, by the way. So
yes,
that's why I became aware of what Aspen was, man. Off that.
Oh yeah.
Focus of that movie.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to it, man, gentlemen. Your predictions for tomorrow night's game against the Vegas Raiders.
I think Dallas gets back to it. I keep it real short. I think Dallas gets back to it. And not necessarily, just out of, the disappointing last couple of weeks. If there was a game you want to get yourself right, as it were, this is it. If you don't, then, it's just a deeper hole than you've dug for yourself already. I fully don't expect a playoff run to evolve from this, but I expect them to get this one. For all the Cowboys struggles, the Raiders have been worse. And you bring in a guy that can help take advantage of that. So with that, I will go on the road. Dallas is a 3.5-point favorite. I think they certainly cover that, and I will go. Dallas get their act together and gets out of there with a 27-17 win.
27-17. JC, what you got for us?
Nice. Love, going to stay with the weird score thing, and I'm going to go Cowboys 22, 5 field goals. All right. And the Raiders 16, 3 of their own. I think it'll be more competitive than what we believe it should be with the new additions and so forth and the transition that we talked about. But the thing is, just get the dub, man. 22-16, Cowboys win. On to the next.
On to the next. Okay. Well, just real quick before I drop my prediction, I want to just show who the Raiders are by the numbers. Again, being 2-7. Listen, man, this team sucks, man. They got the dub at Patriots. That's a quality win. Here's the problem. That was week 1. That's before all the. That's when you play on pride and all that. So you got to kind of take those early games with a grain of salt, i.e., us playing the Eagles to a stalemate almost. Since then, they lost the Chargers 20-9, the Commanders 41-24. Tough loss to the Bears 25-24. Colts just beat the hell out of them 40-6. The other win came against the freaking Titans. As Young Thug say, whoop-de-doo. Then after that, the Chiefs beat the dog shit out of them 31-0. Tough loss to the Jaguars 30-29. And last week, a tough loss to the Broncos 10-7. So what that tells me is high-powered offenses, you're going to beat the snot out of this team. Defense is very capable, but if you have a very, if you have a competent to good quarterback, you're going to beat the dog shit out of this team. So this ties back into the Dak Prescott situation that we talked about. Now, if you asked me this prediction 3 weeks ago, it'd be BTA status on this. But since we are kind of reeling just like they are reeling, I'm going to go more modest. I'm going to go 17-13 good guys.
The Raiders have played close games all year.
Yeah, well,
they hung with Chicago, hung with Denver. Yeah, they've been in a lot of. It's kind of like Arizona. They've been in a lot of close games.
Yeah, they have. But again, against teams that don't deserve to be on the field with them, they've been putting belt to ass on the Raiders. So that's the conundrum. So we'll see what we are. Are we a hang-around team with them? Or are we a BTA team with a week of adjustment and a few additions? So that's going to be the real storyline, if you ask me.
Indeed.
All right, so fellas, good show, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Again, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new. I think we covered everything. So Cowboys, I think it's the consensus that we should get the dub. In the day before my birthday.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great show.
Boys, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Happy birthday, Clip.
Appreciate it.
Happy birthday, Clip.
Go Cowboys.
See y'all on the next one. Go Cowboys.
America's team.
America's team.